Welcome to Revenge Blaze, the channel dedicated to raw, real stories of betrayal, justice, and breaking free from toxic situations. We dive deep into family drama, entitlement gone wrong, and the sweet taste of standing up for yourself when enough is enough. If you're new here, stick around, don't leave just yet. The story you're about to hear is one of the most intense and satisfying we've shared. It's gripping from start to finish, full of twists, heartbreak, and ultimate triumph. You won't want to miss a second. Without keeping you waiting any longer, here's today's story. My sister got pregnant for the 8th time, then had me arrested. Welcome to another raw, no-holds-barred story on this channel. Get ready for something that hit me harder than anything I've ever faced in my life. I never thought a simple plastic pregnancy test could become the final nail in the coffin of my entire family. My name is Natasha Hale. I'm 28 years old, and for the last 8 years, I've been the invisible backbone holding everything together in our house in Syracuse, New York. I've spent my entire adult life raising 7 kids who aren't mine, my younger sister's children, while she bounced from one man to the next and never once held down a real job. That afternoon, I stood in the middle of our cluttered living room, still in my supermarket uniform after a brutal 12-hour shift, when she walked in, hand on her stomach, that same smug little smile I'd seen too many times before. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "I'm pregnant again. 8th time. Different guy this time, but don't worry. He's not sticking around. You'll take care of me and the baby after I give birth, right? Just like always." My stomach dropped. 8 times. Not the first, not the second. Not even the third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh. 8. And every single time, the same script: she gets pregnant, the guy disappears. The bills pile up. The kids need everything, and somehow, I'm the one expected to pay for it all. Food, clothes, school supplies, doctor visits, electricity, heat in the freezing Syracuse winters. I'd already drained my savings more times than I could count just to keep the lights on and the fridge from being empty. I stared at her, exhausted, angry, done. For the first time in years, I opened my mouth and said the words I'd swallowed 1,000 times. "No, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not funding your life. I'm not raising another baby, and I'm not sacrificing what's left of mine for you." Her face twisted from smug to furious in a heartbeat. She screamed that I was selfish, ungrateful, that I owed her because we're blood. She threatened to throw me out on the street if I didn't step up. And when I still refused, she went nuclear. She called the police and told them I'd stolen thousands of dollars from her taken family heirlooms, abandoned the children in their time of need. They showed up at my new apartment with lights flashing, cuffs ready, and arrested me right there in the hallway while my neighbors watched. What happened next was something I never saw coming. Something so horrifying it still gives me chills when I think about it. If you've ever been trapped in a family that drains every drop of your energy, your money, and your soul while pretending it's just family, hit that like button right now, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You're about to see exactly how far someone will go when the free ride ends, and how one person finally fought back and walked away for good. The alarm on my phone buzzed at 4:30 every single morning, pulling me out of whatever shallow sleep I'd managed to steal. I rolled out of bed in the dark, feet hitting the cold hardwood floor of our Syracuse house, and started the routine that had become my entire existence. First stop was the kitchen. The counter was already a disaster from the night before: empty beer cans scattered around Ryan's spot on the couch, pizza boxes with dried cheese stuck to the cardboard, half-eaten bags of chips spilling onto the floor. Ryan never cleaned up after himself. He just left it for me. I swept the trash into a bag, wiped down the sticky surfaces, and loaded the dishwasher while the coffee maker gurgled. The kids would be up soon, and they couldn't start the day in chaos. By 5, I was in the hallway knocking softly on doors. Ethan, my 17-year-old nephew, was already awake. He always tried to help, grabbing his younger siblings' backpacks and setting them by the front door. He gave me a quiet nod, the kind that said he understood more than any teenager should. The younger ones were harder. Logan, 15, grumbled as I shook him awake. Mia, 13, needed her hair brushed while she scrolled her phone. Tyler, 10, and Ava, 8, fought over the bathroom sink. Noah, 6, and Sophia, 4, still needed me to dress them. Little Liam, 3, clung to my leg until I carried him to the table. I made 7 different lunches in under 20 minutes. Peanut butter for some turkey, for others, fruit cups, chips, juice boxes. I packed them into backpacks while simultaneously pouring cereal bowls and tying shoes. Kiara and Ryan were still asleep in the master bedroom with the door locked, always locked, to block out the noise of their own children. I could hear Ryan snoring through the wall while I soothed Liam's tantrum because his favorite spoon was in the sink. Once the older kids were out the door for the school bus, I dropped the little ones at daycare on my way to work. The drive took 25 minutes through the gray Syracuse street snow, already threatening even though it was only October. I clocked in at the supermarket at 6:45 for my 12-hour shift as assistant manager. Stocking shelves, running registers, dealing with customer complaints, training new hires. It was exhausting physical work, but it paid the bills. Or at least, most of them. During my lunch break, I checked my phone. A notification from the utility company popped up: final warning on the gas bill, 3 months overdue. Another for electricity close behind. I'd handed Kiara $800 2 weeks earlier specifically to cover both. I knew exactly where the money went: new clothes for her, takeout for Ryan, maybe a weekend trip she never mentioned. The house would freeze soon if the heat got shut off, and the kids would suffer first. I transferred what was left in my emergency savings to the accounts just to buy a little more time. That money had been earmarked for my own apartment deposit, something I'd been saving toward for 2 years. Now it was gone again. The rest of the shift blurred, lifting cases of soda, breaking up arguments in the aisles, smiling at customers while my head pounded from lack of sleep. I got home at 7:30 that night. The house smelled like burnt popcorn and stale beer. The kids were hungry, complaining they hadn't eaten since school lunch. Ryan was sprawled on the couch watching football, feet up on the coffee table I'd just cleaned that morning. Kiara emerged from the bedroom in a new hoodie she'd bought online, complaining the place was a mess. I went straight to the stove, boiled water for pasta because it was cheap and fast, and fed everyone while they talked over each other. Ryan took one bite, pushed the plate away, and said the sauce tasted like nothing. He wanted steak instead. He'd had a craving all day. I looked at this grown man who hadn't worked in months, who contributed zero to the household except noise, and felt a wave of resentment so strong it made my hands shake. I'd just covered another bill he'd ignored, and he was demanding premium food like I was his personal chef. I cleared the table, washed dishes, helped with homework, bathed the little ones, read bedtime stories. By 10, the house was finally quiet. I collapsed on my mattress in the small spare room, staring at the ceiling. My body ached. My mind raced with numbers: how much was left in checking, how many shifts until payday, how long until the next shut-off notice. Exhaustion wasn't just tired. It was bone-deep, soul-crushing weight that never lifted. Every day, the same cycle: wake up, clean up their mess, work to pay for their life, come home to more demands, fall into bed wondering how much longer I could keep going before something broke. And that was just one ordinary day. 3 days after that confrontation in the living room, the house felt like it was holding its breath. I came home from my shift to find Grandma Evelyn already there, sitting on the sofa with her coat still on and her purse gripped tight like she was ready for war. She had driven over from her apartment across town the moment Kiara called her. Kiara sat next to her, one hand resting on her stomach, the other holding a glass of water she sipped slowly, looking far too pleased with herself. Grandma Evelyn didn't waste time. She looked straight at me as I dropped my keys on the counter. "Natasha, we need to talk about this family situation. Your sister is carrying another child. That's 8 now. She needs support, not attitude." I stayed by the door, arms crossed. Kiara spoke up before I could answer, her voice sweet, but edged with triumph. I've decided I'm going to take it easy this time. No more running around. After the baby comes, I'll need you to quit your job at the supermarket and stay home full time. You can handle the kids, the cooking, the cleaning, everything. Ryan and I will figure out work when we're ready. It's only fair. You've been doing it anyway. The words landed like a slap. Quit my job. The one thing keeping us afloat. The one place I had control, income, a future. I felt my jaw tighten. Kiara, I'm not quitting. I pay the mortgage, the utilities, the groceries. If I stop working, we lose everything. You know that. She rolled her eyes. You always make it sound so dramatic. Grandma agrees with me. Family comes first. Grandma Evelyn nodded slowly, her expression stern. Natasha, you're being selfish. Your sister is pregnant. She can't be expected to lift a finger right now. And with 8 children coming, we need a bigger vehicle. That little sedan of yours isn't going to fit everyone. I suggest you sell it. We can use the money for a down payment on a 7 or 8 passenger minivan. Something reliable for doctor appointments. School runs all of it. I stared at her, disbelief rising fast. That sedan was my lifeline, paid off after 3 years of overtime, the only asset I owned outright. Without it, I couldn't get to work. Couldn't escape if things got worse. Grandma Evelyn, that car is how I get to my job. The job that pays for this house. If I sell it, how do I get around? How do we eat? She waved a hand like the question was trivial. You can take the bus. Or Kiara can drive when she feels up to it. This is about the greater good. Your sister is carrying a life. You only care about your precious car and your precious independence. Kiara chimed in, voice rising. Exactly. You act like you're the only one who works hard. I carried these kids. I gave birth 7 times already. The least you can do is step up now. Sell the car, quit the job, stay home. It's what family does. Ryan wandered in from the kitchen, soda in hand, smirking. Yeah, and I'll help with the driving once we get the new van. Easy fix. I looked from one face to the next. Kiara's expectant grin, Grandma Evelyn's disapproving frown, Ryan's lazy shrug. The room felt smaller, the air thicker. My hands clenched at my sides. No, I'm not selling my car. I'm not quitting my job. I've given everything for years, money, time, energy. I'm done being the one who always sacrifices so the rest of you can coast. Grandma Evelyn's voice sharpened. You're turning your back on your own blood. After all we've done for you, Kiara stood up, hand on her belly. If you won't do it willingly, we'll find another way. But don't think you can just walk away from this family. You owe us. The tension snapped into something cold and sharp. I turned toward the hallway, heart pounding. I don't owe anyone my future. I walked to my room and closed the door quietly. Behind it, I could hear them talking in low voices, planning, scheming, deciding what to do next. The argument wasn't over. It was just beginning to boil. I went straight to my room after closing the door, heart still racing from the argument. I needed a moment to breathe, so I pulled out my laptop and logged into my bank account to double-check my balance. That's when I saw it, an email alert from the credit monitoring service I'd signed up for years ago. A hard inquiry on my credit report. Not from me. My stomach twisted. I clicked through and found a new credit card account opened in my name just 2 days earlier. The limit was $12,000 and it was already maxed out. Purchases showed up one after another, a high-end crib set for $2,500, a matching stroller and car seat combo for another $3,000, designer baby clothes, totaling over $1,000. Then came the vacation charges, flights, hotel, rental car for a weekend getaway to the Finger Lakes, all charged while I was at work. I sat there staring at the screen, the numbers blurring. This wasn't laziness anymore. This was deliberate. Kiara had used my social security number, my date of birth, everything she knew about me to open the account and spend like it was hers. I printed the statements, hands shaking, and grabbed my keys. I couldn't stay in that house another minute. I drove to a quiet coffee shop on the edge of town where Sarah was waiting. My best friend since high school, she worked as a paralegal at a small firm downtown. She took one look at my face and pulled me into a hug before I even sat down. I slid the papers across the table without a word. Sarah scanned them quickly, her expression hardening. This is identity theft, Natasha. Straight up fraud. She opened a card in your name without authorization. That's a federal offense. She pointed to the dates. Look, the hard inquiry happened the same day you refused to sell your car. She didn't wait long. We spent the next hour on the phone with the credit card company's fraud department. Sarah guided me through every step, freeze the account dispute, every charge, place a fraud alert on my credit reports with all three bureaus. By the time we hung up, the charges were flagged and the account was locked. But the damage was done. My credit score would take a hit for months, maybe longer. Sarah leaned back, sipping her coffee. You need to file a police report tomorrow. Not for revenge, for protection. If they did this once, they'll do it again. People like Kiara don't stop when they get away with it. They escalate. I nodded, but inside I felt sick. This was my sister. The same person I'd carried groceries for when she was too tired, paid doctor bills for when the kids were sick, covered rent when she couldn't. And now she'd stolen my identity to fund her fantasy life. I drove home slowly, the city lights blurring through the windshield. The house was quiet when I walked in. Kiara and Ryan were in the living room watching TV. Kiara glanced up as I passed. Where were you? We needed milk. I didn't answer. I went to my room, locked the door, and sat on the edge of the bed. My phone buzzed, a text from the credit bureau confirming the fraud alert was active. Then another alert, a declined charge for a luxury changing table set. Kiara must have tried to buy more. I heard her footsteps in the hallway, then a knock. Natasha, open up. We need to talk about the money situation. I stayed silent. She knocked harder. I know you're in there. Don't ignore me. I didn't move. The betrayal burned deeper than any argument. She hadn't just demanded my time or my paycheck, she'd tried to take my financial future without asking. And Sarah was right. If I didn't draw a hard line now, this wouldn't stop. I texted Sarah, filing the police report tomorrow. Thanks for everything. Her reply came instantly. You're doing the right thing. Stay strong. I turned off the light and lay back, staring into the dark. The house felt different now, not just crowded but hostile. Every creak in the floorboards reminded me that the people on the other side of the wall had crossed a line I couldn't forgive. 1 week after the fraud alert went active, the mail arrived with something I hadn't expected. I pulled the thick envelope from the box in the driveway, heart skipping when I saw the logo of a major regional distribution company based in Albany. My application for a senior supervisor position had gone through months earlier, better pay, benefits, and a relocation package to move upstate. I tore it open right there on the porch. The letter inside confirmed acceptance, starting salary $45,000 a year, relocation assistance of $5,000, full health coverage, and a clear path to management within 2 years. This wasn't just a job, it was a way out. Albany was only 3 hours away, far enough to start fresh without the daily pull of this house. I walked inside, holding the paper like it was fragile glass. Kiara was in the kitchen, scrolling on her phone. She looked up as I set my bag down. What's that? I didn't hide it. An offer letter. Promotion and relocation. I'm taking it. Her eyes narrowed. She snatched the letter from my hand before I could react, scanning the pages quickly. Her face changed curiosity to confusion to something darker. Without a word, she gripped the top and tore it in half, then tore those halves again until pieces fluttered to the floor. I stared at the scraps. Kiara, what the hell? She stepped closer, voice low and venomous. You think you're leaving? You think you can just pack up and go? With the baby coming, we need you here more than ever. Quit the supermarket job now, stay home. Take care of everything. That's your place. Ryan laughed from the couch. Yeah, office work? You come on. A woman's better off at home anyway. I bent down to gather the torn pieces, smoothing them out carefully. This is my future. I've earned this. You don't get to decide for me. Kiara's voice rose. You owe this family. I'm pregnant again and you're going to walk away. If you leave, don't come back. And if you try to take anything with you, I'll make sure you regret it. Quit or else. The or else hung in the air like a threat. I looked at her, really looked, and saw no remorse, only entitlement. Ryan smirked like it was a game. The kids were in their rooms, but I could feel the house listening. I stood up slowly. I'm not quitting. I'm not staying. I'm done being your safety net. Kiara laughed bitterly. You'll crawl back. You always do. I turned away and went to my room. I locked the door and sat on the bed, the torn letter in my lap. My mind raced through logistics apartment search in Albany, packing essentials, timing the move before they could sabotage. I couldn't leave with nothing. No car report stolen. No more fraud. I needed to plan quietly. I texted Ethan. We need to talk. Tonight. Garage. He replied immediately. Okay. Be careful. Later that evening, after the house settled, I slipped out to the garage under the pretense of checking laundry. Ethan was already there, leaning against the workbench in the dim light. He looked older than 17, dark circles, tense shoulders. I showed him the torn offer. This was my chance. She destroyed it. Ethan's jaw tightened. I heard her on the phone with Grandma Evelyn. They're talking about reporting your car stolen if you try to leave with it. They know you're serious this time. I felt a chill. Then I have to go soon. Quietly. Tonight or tomorrow night? He nodded. I'll help. I can watch for them carry bags. But Aunt Natasha, promise me you'll come back for us when you're safe. The little ones, they need you. I squeezed his arm. I promise. First I get out. Get stable, then I fight for you all legally. Foster care if necessary. But I won't abandon you. We planned, in Whisper's black trash bags for clothes and documents, load the car on the street to avoid the garage door noise, roll down the hill in neutral. Ethan would text if anything changed. I returned to my room, heart pounding but clear. For the first time in years, I had a direction, not just surviving day to day, but building something real. I started quietly gathering what mattered: laptop, birth certificate, social security card, a week's clothes. No photos, no keepsakes, only survival. As the clock ticked toward midnight, I lay awake listening to the house breathe. Kiara and Ryan were asleep. The kids were quiet. This was it. The ultimatum had backfired. They'd pushed me to the edge, and now I was stepping off. I wasn't running away. I was walking toward freedom. Midnight came quietly. The house was dark except for the faint glow from the streetlight outside. I moved through my room like a shadow, stepping only on the boards I knew wouldn't creak. Black trash bags waited by the door, laptop, documents, clothes, toothbrush, charger, everything reduced to essentials. No room for sentiment. Ethan met me in the hallway, eyes wide but steady. He grabbed the heaviest 2 bags without a word and led the way to the front door. We eased it open inch by inch, cold night air rushing in. My sedan sat parked on the street instead of the driveway, Ethan's idea to avoid the noisy garage opener. We loaded the trunk in silence, breath fogging in the chill Syracuse air. The wind bit at my fingers as I closed the lid softly. Ethan turned to me, voice barely above a whisper. Go now. I'll watch from the window. Text when you're safe. I pulled him into a quick hug. I love you. I'll get you out soon. All of you. He nodded, stepped back, and disappeared into the shadows of the porch. I slid into the driver's seat, left the door ajar until the last second, then closed it gently. I shifted to neutral. Let the car roll down the slight hill in silence. Only when I was a block away did I turn the key. The engine caught softly. I drove away without lights until the house was out of sight. 40 minutes later, I pulled into the parking lot of the small apartment complex Sarah had helped me find, second floor above a laundromat, rent paid for the first month in cash. I carried the bags up the stairs one by one, muscles burning but mind sharp. Inside the place was bare mattress on the floor, folding chair, small table. It smelled faintly of detergent and old carpet, but it was mine. I locked the deadbolt, collapsed against the wall, and let out the breath I'd been holding for years. Sleep came in fragments. I woke to my phone vibrating at 6 a.m. 20 missed calls from Kiara, texts piling up. "Where are you? You took the kids' stuff. Come back now." I blocked her number without replying. 2 days passed in uneasy quiet. I started the new job, paperwork remotely unpacked, what little I had bought groceries with the last of my cash. The apartment felt strange, silent, empty, safe. No one demanding dinner, no messes to clean, no snoring through the wall. Then the siren started. Red and blue lights flashed through the thin blinds. Heavy pounding on the door shook the frame. I froze on the mattress, textbook in hand. Through the peephole I saw two uniformed officers, hands near holsters, and behind them Kiara, eyes, red face streaked with tears, performing grief like a pro. I opened the door slowly, hands visible. The older officer stepped forward. "Ms. Hale, we're here on a welfare check and report of theft. Allegations of stolen property valued over $10,000, cash and family jewelry. Step outside, please." Kiara pushed forward, voice breaking. She took everything. The money I saved for the kids. Grandma's diamond necklace, she ran off with it. Arrest her. My heart hammered so hard I thought they could hear it. I stepped into the hallway. "I didn't take anything. Search the apartment. There's nothing here." The younger officer moved inside while the lead one kept me in place. Kiara stood in the doorway, arms crossed, now smug beneath the tears. The search was quick: mattress, flipped bags, rifled closet, empty. Nothing. The officer turned to Kiara. "Ma'am, we need evidence." "Where's the proof?" She pointed at me. "She knows where it is." "She's lying." That's when Ethan appeared at the top of the stairs, out of breath, phone in hand. He must have run the whole way, or caught a ride. He pushed past Kiara without looking at her, and held the phone to the lead officer. "Mom's lying. I recorded this last night." The video played Kiara in her bedroom, wrapping a velvet jewelry box in a towel, shoving it under her own mattress, laughing quietly. "This will teach her. She'll come crawling back when they lock her up." The atmosphere shifted instantly. The lead officer's face changed. He took the phone, watched again, then handed it back. "Ma'am," he said to Kiara, "filing a false claim is a crime. Wasting police resources on a personal dispute can lead to charges." Kiara backed up a step, panic flashing. "He's just a kid. He's making it up." Ethan stood firm. "I'm 17. I know what I saw." The officer turned to me. "You're free to go back inside, Ms. Hale. We'll handle this." I stepped back into the apartment as the officers escorted Kiara down the stairs. She screamed over her shoulder, "You traitor! You'll pay for this." The door closed. I sank to the floor, shaking. The cuffs hadn't gone on, but the threat had been real. The lights, the pounding, the accusation in front of strangers. I had almost lost everything in that hallway. I texted Ethan, "Thank you. You saved me." His reply, "We're family. The real kind." Outside, the sirens faded. Inside, calm settled in, but this time it felt like victory. The officers walked Kiara down the stairs, her protests echoing through the hallway until they faded. I closed the apartment door and leaned against it, legs weak. The video Ethan provided had shifted everything in seconds. Police realized they'd been used, and the focus turned to her. They didn't arrest her on the spot, but the lead officer told me quietly before leaving, "We'll be filing a report on the false claim. She'll hear from us soon." I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the mattress, replaying the moment the cuffs almost clicked on my wrists, the neighbors peeking out Kiara's fake tears. But Ethan's bravery had stopped it cold. By morning, I received a call from the precinct. Charges dropped against me, investigation opened into Kiara for filing a false claim. 2 weeks later, the real consequences began. An officer from the original scene had filed a mandatory report with Child Protective Services in Onondaga County. The video combined with the unstable behavior Kiara displayed in the hallway raised red flags. A caseworker scheduled a surprise home visit. The report came back devastating. The house was uninhabitable, black mold in the bathroom walls from months of leaks. No unfixed refrigerator empty except for condiments, and expired milk electricity flickering because the bill hadn't been paid since I left. The younger children showed signs of neglect. Poor hygiene missed school days, inadequate clothing for the coming winter. Logan and Mia had been trying to manage, but they were kids, not parents. CPS moved fast. An emergency hearing was set. The judge reviewed photos and the caseworker's notes, face grim. Kiara stood in court, no lawyer, claiming it was all a misunderstanding. The ruling was clear: immediate removal of the children from the home, temporary foster placement for all 7. Siblings were split across 2 homes to accommodate availability, which broke my heart from afar, but it was safer than the alternative. Ryan vanished the night before the hearing. He packed a bag while Kiara slept, took the small stash of cash she kept in a jar, and disappeared. No note, no goodbye. He'd never been committed. The pressure from agencies made him bolt. Kiara woke to an empty house, 5 quiet children waiting for pickup, and a court summons taped to the door. She lost custody that week. 300 hours of community service, and a fine for the false claim added to her burdens. Without my paycheck or labor, the house deteriorated. Further utilities cut off again, eviction notice pending. 6 months passed. I had settled into the Albany position seamlessly. The company valued my work. I received a raise after 3 months and moved into a clean 1-bedroom apartment near downtown. Electricity never shut off. No one left messes for me to clean. I slept through the night for the first time in years. I met with a financial advisor and set up an irrevocable educational trust for Ethan and his siblings. Monthly deposits from my paycheck went straight in locked until each turned 18. Legal language ensured Kiara could never touch a cent. Ethan emailed weekly from his foster home, good grades, college plans forming. "Thanks for keeping your promise," he wrote. I replied, "Every time I'm working on the next step." The news about Kiara filtered through distant relatives. She took a night shift job at a 24-hour laundromat in a rough part of Syracuse, folding strangers' clothes under harsh fluorescent lights, back aching from the work she'd always considered beneath her. Gray streaks appeared in her hair early. Lines of bitterness deepened around her mouth. She looked older, worn, finally facing the reality she'd avoided for so long. One afternoon, she tracked me to the Albany office. The receptionist called during a team meeting, hysterical woman in the lobby demanding to see me. I walked out to find Kiara on her knees in front of security, disheveled eyes manic. She grabbed at my sleeve. "Natasha, please. Tell them you'll pay the rent. Ryan's gone. I can't lose the kids. You're their aunt." Colleagues watched. Security stepped closer. I looked down at her. The sister who'd stolen my identity, torn my future, called the police on me, and felt only calm sadness. No guilt. No pull. I stepped back gently. "I raised them for years, Kiara. You never acted like a mother. This is the consequence of your choices. I won't save you anymore." I nodded to security. They escorted her out while she sobbed on the marble floor. I returned to my desk, portfolio in hand, and continued the meeting. No looking back. Grandma Evelyn ended up in a state-funded nursing home on the outskirts of Syracuse, understaffed, antiseptic smell, communal phone in the hall. She called a few times from blocked numbers I didn't answer. The stroke she suffered after the hearings had left her frail. Without my support or Kiara's, care options ran out. I focused on the kids. Ethan graduated high school with honors. The trust would cover college. The younger ones adjusted in foster care, stable homes, regular meals, school attendance. One day they'd know the truth. But for now, safety mattered most. Standing in my office window one evening, watching Albany lights come on, I realized I had reclaimed everything: my time, my money, my peace. This story isn't just about what happened to me, it's about the value it holds for anyone listening. The biggest lesson I learned is that blood doesn't give anyone a free pass to exploit you. Family should lift you up, not drain you dry. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's survival. Sometimes walking away is the most loving thing you can do for yourself first, then for the people who truly deserve your help. I used to think staying meant loyalty. Now I know staying in toxicity only enables more harm. Resilience comes from choosing yourself when no one else will. It's hard, it hurts, but it leads to freedom, strength, and the ability to truly protect those you love, like the trust I built for my nieces and nephews. If my story resonates with you, if you've ever felt trapped by family obligations that feel more like chains, know this: you are allowed to choose peace. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to build a life where your worth isn't measured by how much you give away. Thank you so much for staying with me through this entire journey, from the exhaustion to the escape to the quiet victory on the other side. I hope my story gives you courage, clarity, or at least the reminder that you're not alone. Wishing you all good health, endless luck, and true happiness in everything you do. If this touched you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more real stories about breaking free and rebuilding stronger, and share it with anyone who might need to hear it right now. Your support means the world. Take care and remember, your life is yours to protect.